Hello, everyone. So we have a bit of housekeeping first. So I'll put you on hold a bit longer. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can hear me. I can hear me. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Okay. So we are finally. Yeah. So hello everyone. So a bit of assessing the microphones and everything. So somehow sometimes a bit difficult because I use this live free tools which are great, but sometimes to synchronize everything, it's a bit of a trick. Okay, fine. So this is the second week of our RStudio Lab. This and what we are going to do today is basically create a GitHub repository uh, to save all the work done last week. And this is a version saver tool. So any change after we create this GitHub repository will be saved. So any changes will be it will be possible to go back and forth on it. So to double check the changes. So let's get started and have a look at this. What is a GitHub repository? Okay. So this is my GitHub. So I am to show you, this is my dashboard. You need to basically create an account with github.com, and then so as you can see, I have a number of repositories. If I go on my profile here, you just create an account, and so you have all the repository here. But what we do today is create a new one. Okay, you create a new repository. Okay, so we can set up a name, and we call it just as the same as our project, which I save it here. And today I'm going to show you a bit of tricks. Okay, so you can do other way differently. There's a few different ways that you can do this. Okay, so I need to go here and grab this the name of the repository. So this is our the repository that we made, RStudio Data Analytics best practices, and then for the business we just repeat these things here, and then we can modify. This is a public repository. We add a README file, and everything is done. Okay, so we create this. Okay, so this is a new repository that will be created under your account. you can follow along, or once it's done, you can just click on my profile and on this repository. You can just click fork, and it will create a copy of this repository for you to have on your RStudio. But I'll show you what's happening here. So this is what we have just created. This is what we just set and everything. Okay, here it is the about. This won't affect your RStudio, so you can write everything here. Anything, if you change the about, it won't be versions save it. Okay, so you can change it, but you don't have any records of the changes that you make here in the about. Okay, so now this is our project. So we copy this one here. We go to RStudio. Go to RStudio. There we go. So this is the project that we already made. Okay, so what I like to do here, it's make a bit of like changes. Okay, so for some reasons. Okay, so basically we are going to just change this the name of this repository. Okay, say test, and we leave it there. And now we create a new one. Version control, Git. We just control paste the URL of the repository, and then Control C and automatically position the name in here. Then we browse because we want this on live coding. And then we create a project. Okay, so this is basically the same procedure that you would do if you fork my repository. Okay, then you grab the URL on top, and then you create a new project, and then basically this is exactly the same thing that would happen in your R. Okay, basically it download the things that are in the GitHub, and now we have our README. We just name it. We can basically make modifications. Okay. This is a RStudio Lab series to practice analytics, visualization, and model. Okay, then we can modify, further modify, and so I save this thing, and as you can see, if I go to my Git tab, here is what it's basically contained in the GitHub repository. And so this is the version saving part. Okay. As you can see, we have just made a modification to the readme dot markdown file. This is a markdown. It's not R markdown, it's a markdown. It's just a little simpler than classical R markdown font. And so it is usually used as a README file because it contains property to be able to display HTML information. Then you can see on a web browser as an HTML file. Because then you can even publish all the things that you do here on Git pages. So you might have on a Quarto website or whatever you like. So for this reason, as this contains these HTML properties. So going forward, so now I'd like to show you that I've made a modification. So now I want this modification be on my GitHub, okay? Here. So as you can see, there is no the modification that we just made. Even if I refresh the page and everything, it stays because I didn't make, I didn't said that I want the modification that I've made on RStudio to be passed to my GitHub. Okay, so what I like to do is now sending this change that I made to my GitHub repository. Okay. Okay, now it's just me doing this thing. I'm not on a team. Okay, so I don't need to change anything in here. So basically what you find here is the main, and this is the branch. Okay, so this is the branch that we that means the main page that contains my information. If I were on a team, I would have and so forth. The repositories need to click in here and create a new name for a new branch. But we will see these things later. What else we can see here? That there are a few tabs. So this, if we click here, I'm not sure if you can see it. And the best thing if I share the entire screen. Okay, if I click here, you can see that it shows what's inside the repository. But if I stop on the file that I just modified, we can see the change that we just made. So in the red, that was what was previously, and in green is what is we have just made. Okay, so we can even discard what we just did it, and so just revert everything on the reddish thing, or click here to revert. In order to do that, we need to stage. So click on the file and then revert, and so we can go back in there. But we don't want to do that. Instead, we want to send. We like this changes. We want to send this thing to GitHub. Okay, so say first commit updated file. Okay, so this is just a something in the changes. Okay, so then we need to like select everything, and we can do like with Command A. So select everything and then click on it, so we have everything selected, and then we can do like commit and close. Good practice is to pull first in a way that if there's any changes there in the GitHub repo that we didn't pull down on our repository, it's a good practice to first pull down and then push up. Okay, so now I have my password. And so it's done. You can find anything in here. You might want to have a look at history. And so here you have the structure, the tree, the initial tree structure of your project. Here are the changes. Git in Europe, I didn't mention it. I would say about those things. This is our project file. So this is the branches. For now, we have just the main branch. I close this down. What else we see? If we go back to our repository, which is here, and then refresh, we find the changes that we just made. Okay, and here we have two commits. Okay, our first commit, and the first one is the when we have just the initial commit, the one that we just created. So this is the initial commit, and this is the first commit. Okay, each commit has a number, identification number. If you click on that, you see what's happening. Okay, if you want to go back to the parent commit, so the original initial commit file, you go back and see that it has a different number. So if you click on that, you find what was the very initial part of the repository. The redeem file was made like that. There are no changes. So if you want, if you are on GitHub repository, you want to go back in here, you can do that. Okay, so we might want to have a look at these things step by step. Okay, so what's happening now? I refresh. So this is my repository, but as you can see, there are no the files that we made. Okay, so if we go back to RStudio, even if it's there, you see that there is one more file, this .git in your file. If we go to even here, if we click on it on RStudio or on GitHub, we see that it contains some information. Okay, this is a .git in your file, and it contains a list of type of files in this case, but it can contain folders name, files name, entire files name, and everything. That's the same that you find here. Basically, it says to this information, which is, for example, this file here, or the R history. For now, we don't have these files, okay? But we might want to create an R data. This is a type of file such as CSV, so it's a container of information. You can save like data frame, for example, just to give you an idea. to be a type .rdata. This basically prevents you to push this type of files, any of them, to your GitHub repository. Because it's a good practice when you do some data wranglings and analysis in modeling and everything to save the image. So all the variables that you have created during your analysis, save the image as a .rdata file and then store inside your project, your repository. But then you might don't want to this to go in your main GitHub repository. It might be too heavy, because something to mention that you are basically allowed to send. So basically, you have with a free account, you have basically certain capacity of megabytes that you can that you are allowed to, otherwise get stuck and everything. So it's a good practice to have something very light and you break down the things. And but so if we go forward on those things, we might get a bit more in depth on all this information. Now, what we want, okay, it's this is to make things easier. It can be done differently. We go back to our test, which contains all the things, included this .RHistory. As I mentioned, okay, so we have this mentioned in the list within the Git ignore. So this .RHistory, in case, okay, one which this contains all the code that we've done on our degradation of the things that we made in case you lost something and you want to go back and have a look. So this won't be pushed on your public repository. Okay, so what I am going to do is to click, this is our test, so all the things that we made. If I click on here, I saved everything, so I've selected everything. I don't need this .rproj, so I deselect that, and then I do move, okay, and I move everything in my repository, into my repository. Okay, now it says this file, this .rhistory, it's deleted because it's no more where it was. Okay, I say, yeah, I want to close it because I know that I made a change and everything. So now my test, it's empty. I can even trash it. Okay, so now is everything on our new one that we just made it from GitHub. It's everything in there. Oops. Okay, and as you can see, our Git tab with the new file that we just moved in it. Okay, so we are quite happy with those files. I have made some changes and adjustments just to give a sense of a bit more and everything. So what we do now is just push them all to our GitHub repository. But for example, here in the script, I have two files now, not just the helper. I left this one here, which was my time series on global temps tries of different type of models. We haven't seen them. We've just seen one. And I don't want this to be pushed to GitHub. Okay. So if I select the file and then go to rename. It highlights the name of the file. So I Control C, deselect, go to Gitignore, for example, okay, and I say this was in script. I don't want this script slash I'm serious.r to be pushed to my GitHub, public GitHub repository. As you can see, here is the script. Okay, I still haven't saved it. If I click on script, it already eliminated, deselected, so it's not in my Git to be pushed list. Okay, and it's saved automatically. Now my script folder within the files that I'm going to push to GitHub contains just the helper file. So I'm happy with that. For the minute, I have some modification on the Gitignore file. If I want to have a look at this, I can just do this. I have the full list of files, but the first one on the list is Gitignore. So I can see what the changes are. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And I'm going to push all of them. But one more thing that I need to check, and I mentioned about the capabilities of free GitHub accounts, is the size of the images, which they can be sometime, not usually when you GG save a plot. It's very difficult that you go oversize, which means like 1 megabyte, like 100 kilobytes or something like that, 1,000 kilobytes or something like that. So you need to be, it's better, you need to be below 1 megabyte so you can push the thing safely. Otherwise you get stuck and you might want to force it and you be able to push it as well. But you might want to be below 1 megabyte. Usually when you do a plot with ggplot, such as we did it, even a map and everything, usually stays below that size. If it go over, it's because you have added images on the plot, and then or you just are pushing images that are oversizes because you have taken from the web or somewhere else. So this is my my project. This 5 days project that we just did it. So I want them all to be pushed on GitHub. So here we have other information, but we don't need to do that. We click on commit, which is the same as diff. It depends by if you select something or not. Again, I want all of them to be pushed. Okay, so they are yellow because they are folders. Okay, if I click on it, it basically the folder disappears and appears just the file. It might be possible that one folder contains more than one file. If I click on it, it expands on all the files inside the folder. Okay, so I need all of them. So I do Command A and then click on 1 and it select all of them automatically. And then I say second commit, adding all files for the first week. Okay, so we are happy with that. Size is good, and we commit. close. Again, no one made changes on my GitHub, but you do pull down, up to date, and then push up. And so it might take a bit because we are pushing certain number of files. It should be faster. Maybe because we are live or connected and everything. We do not have extra sizes. So, and as you can see, it advises you that your branch is ahead of origin for the main branch by one commit, and it's pushing down. Apparently, it takes a bit. Okay, so in the meantime, it works out the things. I like to show you that there is, we can even refresh. The page. Okay, so still hasn't done. As you see here, this is the main branch, and here you have, if you click on that, and you have more branches. That would be the list of the branch. And here is the number of branches. If you click on that, you have a list of the branches. So you might want to, if you want, you can have different branches with various modifications of your repository. Okay, it takes a bit. Okay, apparently it takes a bit. There is a workaround. If we go on terminal, we use the command lines. This is what I do under these conditions sometimes when this happens. It might be because of the connection, because we don't have oversize. So I do git push, even if I already pushed. And as you can see, now telling me, and I can see, and now it's done. Okay, so this is done. And as you can could see, basically started back where he was while I was waiting. And as you can see, it seems like it still hasn't done it, but instead it's done. We refresh the page, and it's all here. We have all our files and all the things that we did, and they are here. Okay, so this is what you want to do if you like to have a copy and you haven't made it, I don't know, whatever. You might want to copy this. No, you might want to fork, and you click here and fork, and this create a new fork. Obviously, I cannot create another one. And then you create a fork on your name, and then you have your username with the name of this repository. You can copy and paste on a new project, just as the same as we did it. As you can see, this disappeared, and so we are all good. All done. We don't need this test, so we trash it. Okay. So another way to do this is to create a project without a readme file. We create a new repository without a readme file, and then use, I show you, if I do a new repository and I call it test, okay, test2, okay, and I don't add the readme file, now I have 3 options: 1, 2, and 3. Okay, or and 4 options. There basically are 3 options. Okay, this is just the URL .git or whatever. It is exactly the same if you use this or the URL on top here. So basically, you can do these steps on command line here in terminal if you have all the files here and you want to connect your RStudio files with GitHub, and you do git init, git add readme, git and first commit, and then it will basically select create a new repository. Or otherwise, do simply as that, and it commits all the files that you got to GitHub repository. We can even see another time. So what I like to do, we have a few minutes left. It's basically showing you that you, with a little customization of this R Markdown files, you can even transform them to Quarto. Okay, we can see this. You can create a little website or book, okay, that you can see on GitHub pages. For example, if I go on setting for this repository here, I have this option, which is pages. And these are the GitHub pages. So if I can, it's a bit sometimes can be confusing, sometimes it's not. It depends. So I deploy from a branch, and I can select the branch or don't, and I can just use GitHub action. I can just deploy just the README file, and then have the code saved. So this is what I wanted to show you today, which is very interesting. And so I think this is everything for today. And next time, which is tomorrow same time, we have a look at more interesting things